So today we're going to be talking about the main idea. Okay, so last time we went a little bit over the theme of passages, but today I want to talk about the main idea. So when we talk about the main idea, we think about the author's point or message about a topic, okay? It's often expressed directly or it can also be implied, all right? So, when we think about this, we think about what is the point of what's being written, okay? So, one of the best ways to understand main idea is to compare and contrast it to the theme, okay? The theme is typically going to be what's the lesson learned, or what's the underlining meaning of what's going on. What's this, what can we, learn from this? What is the author trying to imply about an issue, about a situation, about life? What's going on here in the story, in the situation, in the plot, in the character's life. But this is more about what the author is directly trying to get across, like the action that's happening, the plot that's happening. What is the point of the story? And it's very direct, okay? So there's three ways that you can get across the main idea, and that's through dialogue. So how the characters talk, what the characters talk about, you can pick up on what exactly the point of the story is. And then you can also get it through the plot, right? So this is pretty self-explanatory, but whatever happening in the story, you can infer through those details of the actions of the adventure or the battle or the journey or whatever it is. Whatever's going on is typically going to be a very key detail in explaining what the main idea of the story is. What's the point? What if you had to explain this story and what's going on? Boom, that's typically going to be the main idea in a nutshell. But another way you can do it is by the characters, right? There's typically going to be a structure for a story that has certain antagonists and protagonists in it. And that's how you can tell what the main idea is. Typically, the main idea is going to be the protagonist, whatever he's doing. And sometimes it'll come in conflict with something. Whether it's something, it's somebody, it's an issue. And typically when you look at the protagonist and you look at the issue, you find the main idea. As simple as that. So, let's go through some examples of this, and this might help a lot. So the first example I want to use is movies. So I wouldn't say main ideas is super subjective, but I would say that it's definitely something that you might or might not have a couple main ideas floating around. But once again, typically it shouldn't be a huge debate on what exactly the author is saying. Okay, it's not going to be as controversial as a theme, right? The first movie that I was going to bring up is The Hunger Games, right? So you watch The Hunger Games, and pretty much the main idea of Hunger Games is Katniss is trying to survive a vicious game. It's trying to survive the Hunger Games, this 12 to 16 people competition that's going on. Sometimes it's more than that, right? The main idea of the story is Katniss is trying to survive that. But then if you looked at the theme, you might say, love conquers all. If you're watching the first one, because how it ends with, spoiler alert, when it how it ends with Peeta and Katniss, or it could be, never give up, or always sacrifice for others. Um, it could be anything like that. But the main idea is what the point of the story. The point of the story, and sometimes you get to movies and it gets a little bit trickier, but I think that it's a simple way to understand it without getting too complex. It's just what's going on in the movie. Then another one, think about the Avengers. So, Hulk, Spider-Man. The main idea of the movie of the Avengers is they're trying to protect planet Earth. The Avengers are trying to protect planet Earth. That's the main idea, right? That's what's going on. And then the theme might be, I don't know, teamwork makes the dream work. I'm being facetious, but it might be, we have to unify to overcome problems, or whatever. You could really see a lot of themes in that story, right? But the main idea is just simple, straightforward. What is the author or the director, in the case of a movie, what is he trying to get across? What's going on? So another way you could see this is, I wrote down Space Jam. So, Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes are trying to beat the aliens in a game of basketball. They're trying to protect their planet because the aliens were trying to overtake it, and they had to play a basketball game to decide it. The main idea is that they were trying to protect planet Earth through a basketball game. It's pretty straightforward. It's what's going on. It's it's going to be implied, but it's mostly direct, okay? The main idea shouldn't be something that you have to really meditate over and you really have to do a lot of thinking over. Typically, if you understand the material and you go into the story to find evidence of it, typically, especially in writing, movies is going to be a little bit different, but in writing, it's going to be pretty much found quickly in the first paragraph most of the time. So an easy way to understand this is the second one, and that's through an argumentative paper. So we'll just put paper up here. Through a paper. Okay? So when you talk about, and this is probably the most accurate way to depict a main idea. I could have even started with this, really. An argumentative paper embodies perfectly what a main idea is. So say I'm trying to write a paper, and you read the first paragraph and you see a sentence like this. It says, it's a petition to someone, okay? Say you're petitioning someone for a pool. And the first sentence or two is, we want to build a pool, dear, principal or dear father, whoever you're writing to argue for something. You say, we want to build a pool. And here's why. The main idea of that paper is explaining why you want to build a pool, or petitioning to build a pool. That's the main idea of the paper. That's the reason. That's the message of the paper. That is the meat and potatoes of what's going on. It's very clear. It's very clear. It's not going to be an underlining meaning. It's not going to be this philosophical thing. It's going to be, the evidence is going to be right there. So as a student, when you're looking in a paper, you got to look at the first paragraph. And I've said this a couple times. Typically, it's going to be in the first paragraph, and the author is going to build on that, because an author, when he has a main idea, he isn't going to hide it. It's not like a plot twist ending. Something might happen at the end that changes your view on the story, But as far as the main idea, it's not going to be hidden. Okay, it's going to be right there. The theme might be something that takes a little more critical thinking. The main idea is going to be something the author says, boom, there it is, right? Boom, there it is, and here it is. I'm gonna build on it. Okay, here's why we should build a pool, and the rest of the paragraph's gonna be building on the idea of building a pool, and that's gonna be the foundation. The main idea is gonna be the foundation of the message the author is trying to get through. So, say you're reading a poem about, or rather, let's go through a few more examples of this. So, same thing. So I write a story. The first paragraph, you read a sentence that says, Zoom is bad for schools. Zoom is terrible for schools. Zoom should not be in school. And then the next sentence is, I have 3 reasons why Zoom is bad for the public school. Well, it's right there. It's right there. You shouldn't go any more into the story trying to figure something out and read in between the lines. You should say, hey, the purpose, the message of this story is Zoom is bad for schools. Okay? And the target of the paper might be an argument, but the main idea is right there. It's right there. So, another one, phones should be banned from school. Phones are bad. Cell phones, they distract kids. They get kids in trouble. Illegal activity happens on cell phones. Okay? You see what the author is trying to say. The message he's trying to get across is cell phones should not be in school. Now, this is simple, right? Movies might be something rare with main ideas, and argumentative papers are going to be as clear as it gets on the main idea. Okay, but then you get to something like, let's say, you get to a poem, or you get to a story. You get to a poem, okay? Let's say you get to a poem. And you say, okay, boom, I'm reading this poem. I'm reading The Road Less Traveled. What's the main idea? What's the main idea, right? Well, I'm not going to sit here and spit out a bunch of different main ideas for poems, but I can give you an example. If the road's less traveled by, the theme of it might be, hey, in life you can't take the easy road, or you have to take the road that's harder, the journey in life that's harder. But typically, that's not going to be the main idea, right? That is a philosophical life lesson. You should not take the easy road. You should take the hard road, or sometimes the better road is going to be the rougher road. You got to go against the crowd, right? These are all philosophical thoughts, philosophical life lessons, But the main idea of the poem is simply the road, the main idea is simply, there's two roads that you have to go down. You see, or there's 2 roads to pick from in life, or there's 2 roads to pick from on this man's journey. You don't have to sit here and decipher what the roads mean, decipher what the life lesson is. It's simply gonna be what's going on in the story. And you find that through what? You find that through the character's inner dialogue, what actions are taking place in the character itself, and you see the main character picking 2 roads to go through. So the main idea is that, the man is picking two roads to go down. It's picking one of the roads to go down, which however you want to word it, you understand that that's what's happening in the story. That's the main idea. The theme would be, what does it all mean? What is the author trying to get across on a deep philosophical level? I mean, maybe those are strong words, but that's the idea. So I hope that helps, and that is the main idea. That is the main idea in a nutshell.